The Lord be with you. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Mark. A leper came to him and kneeling down begged him and said, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand, touched the leper, and said to him, "I do will it. Be made clean." The leprosy left him immediately, and he was made clean. Then warning him sternly, he dismissed him at once. Then he said to him, "See that you tell no one, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad so that it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. He remained outside in deserted places, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. The Gospel of the Lord. Kind of an interesting first reading from Samuel, because you kind of wonder to yourself, well, if they brought the Ark of the Covenant into the camp, why didn't they defeat the Philistines? And you have to wonder, I guess, in some ways we'll have to stay tuned for further developments during the course of the week. But I think too that we can't always rely on magic. God wants us to use our resources too. If we bring in the Ark of the Covenant, maybe they were thinking, we don't really have to fight that much, or we don't have to do our part. Well, let's just let God take care of us without doing our own part. Without knowing the rest of the story, that's what I would conclude. I'd say, the Lord wants us to work along with Him, doesn't want us just to depend on the goodness of God. We'll just sit here and see if the Philistines all fall down. And they said, the Philistines were a vicious, strong army because they were miners. They actually had access to ore and things like that, and their weapons were much better than the weapons of the Israelites, much stronger, made out of steel and iron and things like that, whereas the Israelites had inferior weapons. So in a sense, they had an advantage. And I guess, the Israelites said, well, we have an advantage too, but it didn't work that way for them. They were defeated in that battle. But as I said, we'll have to kind of continue to see how the story develops, which is kind of nice. One of the nice things about going to the daily masses, it is a continuous story, usually from time to time, as is the gospel. The gospel has been, continuing too, kind of progressing through the first chapter of St. Mark. It's always interesting too that, when someone who has leprosy comes up to Jesus, he's always referred to as a leper, not a person who has leprosy. And that kind of tells you the attitude that the people had toward leprosy. That the person, it became the person in a sense kind of became the disease, and the person was completely ostracized from the community. They were expelled from town. They had to go live out in caves and depend on the charity of other people to bring them food and take care of them, because people were so afraid of catching this disease that they were ostracized from the community. That's why Jesus says to them, after he cures them, go and show yourself to the priest, because they had to get a letter of okay, it's okay to go back. Your leprosy is gone. Now you can go back into the community. And they couldn't go back until they had that. They had a kind of proof that that disease was gone. And even, and that continued for thousands of years, even in a sense, because I know in the time of St. Francis, they still were expelling lepers from Assisi and making them go live out in the valley away from the town. So they still had that, that idea 1300 years later that leprosy was something that, was so terrible that the people had to be expelled. The other part I always kind of get a chuckle out of this gospel is too. It says Jesus told him, don't tell anybody. And then it tells you the man went away and told everybody in the world. Spread the report abroad, and it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. And that's why Jesus kept telling people at the beginning of his ministry, don't go spreading this around, because I think he was afraid that he was just going to be looked upon as a miracle worker. If you have any kind of illness, disease, whatever, come on, see this guy, he's going to cure you. Doesn't care. I don't think, necessarily people cared who he was or what he said. All they wanted was to be cured. And, that was a nice facet of his ministry, but that wasn't the whole. He didn't come here just to cure diseases. He came to teach. And the teaching was so important. So that's why he didn't want to become, come see the miracle worker, bring everybody out that has any kind of disease. This man can cure them for you. Yes, he could, but I think he didn't want to obscure the message that Jesus wanted to teach people too. And as we said, usually the miracles were in conjunction with some sort of teaching where he would say, he wanted to show that his words were effective, his words were powerful, his words were true. If he says this, it has to be true because, look, he says, be clean, and the person is clean. Or receive your sight, and the person does receive his sight. And if he says, take care of one another, be good to one another, then we should be doing that too because those words are effective, those words are true. So that's usually the reason why what they call the messianic secret. He kept telling everybody, don't spread this around, kind of keep it to yourself so that we can develop the message as well as the cures. Let's now stand for the intercessions.